we're talking to Nick here, and we're gonna before we talk about how America is destroying itself. Nick has asked me to nerd out for a second so we can have some
Yeah,
catharsis. So everyone,
yeah.
just join us for 2 minutes. If you're horrified by this, just enjoy two middle-aged men talking about Star Wars and toys for 2 minutes, and we
Yeah,
promise then we'll get to the other stuff.
yeah. Enjoy just the relaxation of Legos for a minute because the thing I realized as an adult is I have adult money and I get to buy adult toys and adult fun things. And Legos are from what, 9 to 99? And I'm not 99 yet. So screw them. Um, so this one I'll pull out because it's so cool. I haven't
My son
dusted
made it.
this one off in a while. Is the Pyramid of Giza, and I have it with the hieroglyphs on the front, and then on the back, it has a little bit of the tunneling chamber. Um, oh shit! Hopefully, I didn't just break the damn thing. Cap comes
Nah,
off
you
from
can
the
put it back on.
pyramid.
That's easy. That's easy. My son
Yeah,
has that
no,
one too.
yeah, and then I popped off the middle. But for everybody else, you actually get the dig site inside of it, and it is so freaking cool. Like you got the ropes pulling, pulling up the piece, the gold cap, and the little like scaffolding pieces. They put so much effort into these things now to make them cool. I wish I
And then
had
you
my
also
Eiffel Tower standing because
You
I'll
also
show
got
that.
Lego space. He's got the Lego space behind him too. Really cool
Oh
space
yeah,
stuff. If you guys see underneath, if you watch Transformers, that is a Lego Bumblebee.
he does
Uh,
transform without
and he
having to be taken
transforms.
apart.
The Lego Bumblebee and the Lego Optimus Prime, they actually found a way to make them transform. So you could actually have it in the figurine form or the car form. And now they have Soundwave.
I'm gonna get Soundwave when hey, become paid subscribers and help me buy Soundwave.
All right,
How
and so
about
I'm going
that?
to show off one. That is,
Yeah.
everyone always asks, is that a Millennium Falcon? That is a Millennium Falcon, and that is a Lego Millennium Falcon. I got this real quick, Nick, when I sold my book a couple of years ago. It was a big deal for me. I sold the book, and I got the advance for the book, and then I
Mhm.
told my wife, because I want to be responsible. I said, I
Yeah.
will reward myself. I came home one day with this big ass box. And my wife's like, what's that? And she looked at me, she goes, is that a Lego set? I'm like, wife, this is the Millennium Falcon. And she goes, I have no idea what that means. She goes, oh, you will see. And then I made her take a video that I posted on social media where she's such a good spouse. She's like, I can't believe I'm doing this. So I use the Phantom Menace music, the Duel of Fates. Oh, so
One of the best soundtracks too.
in slow motion, I went like this. I revealed the box like this, and I threw the box away, and everyone could see it was the Millennium Falcon. And then edited it, and she's like, "You're such a dork, but it makes you happy." I'm like, "Listen, it's either this or cocaine. You have to choose." She goes, I'll let you just do your Lego set."
Yeah, yeah. Let's make sure that we choose which one is the healthier of the two
I
addictions
don't do
here.
drugs, folks. I'm just kidding. But she's like, "Well, cocaine and Lego are the same price, so as long as you do Lego, it's fine."
Comparable. Just one more I associate with my college buddies who are all white. And that's typically the crowd that I associate with cocaine and cokeheads is they just a bunch of white pricks and lacrosse bros. I'm gonna hate on lax bros because you guys suck. Like you people suck. Sorry,
We have
lacrosse sucks. I
we
not to
have
hate on
God
my Native American friends or
we have God here, and for those who don't know God, the character of God, a fantastic Substack. But I found out, Nick, that God is one of us. God is like us, and God sent me a photo of his custom-made Yavin base, which was
that's
so
cool.
awesome. I was very impressed. So if you all think, listen, folks, everyone had. I think this is my take. You tell me, Nick. I told
Yeah.
my wife. I strongly believe this. Middle-aged men need hobbies. All right.
Yes.
You see middle-aged men do weird stuff. So you see them all of a sudden get into bikes. You see them get into cars. You see them getting like a model train. And when you're growing up, you're like, why is this middle-aged man in the basement building a model train? And then you become a middle-aged man, and you're like, all right, I'll either become a psychopath or I'll just build Legos.
I've also figured it out too, is if you have not watched Land Before Time. If you're, especially if you're a white kid from the 90s and you have not watched Land Before Time, you're MAGA because you have no empathy for any human being because you did not watch the poor dinosaur die and you did not watch all of that and cry. So you became MAGA. You have no empathy, and I don't feel bad for you anymore. You need to let your kids feel that heartbreak so that they don't become evil MAGA.
Well, for
That's my preaching for the day.
that's the old generation. It was Bambi, and for Gen X, it's Land Before Time. Uh,
I watched both.
And then also, I think, for me, I will say this. I went and saw Transformers, the movie 1986 in the theater. I think I was 6 years old. It was AMC 10 Milpitas in the Bay Area. Nobody warned me that Optimus Prime would die. And I remember that was like my old Yeller and Bambi moment. I was shook. And I was just like, and the analogy that I make to politics, I think I'm very proud of this pop culture analogy, is for MAGA. I hate besmirching his name, but just be with me. For
Yeah,
MAGA, Trump is their Optimus Prime, right? And they think that once Optimus Prime dies in the movie, folks, if you haven't watched, they replaced Optimus Prime with this guy called Hot Rod, uh,
Rodimus Prime, you mean?
Optimus Prime, and they tried to make him a thing. But like the base, me was like, I don't give a shit about Rodimus Prime. Rodimus Prime is corny as F. Bring back Optimus Prime. So to me, JD Vance is Rodimus Prime. They really think that once Cankles dies, that they can simply replace him with Rodimus. And I'm like, nobody likes Rodimus Prime. No matter how hard you try, JD Vance will not be Trump. Rodimus is Rodimus, Optimus is Optimus. And in this particular case, he's not Optimus, he's Megatron, a Decepticon.
Yes.
I'm
No,
very proud of that pop culture analogy. If you know, you know. If you don't know, just I apologize for being a geek.
the best part is that's one of my favorite childhood movies. Like I was born in 1990. I missed the entire decade by 2 days, like, or a day. Like I was born on the second and I missed all. I'm gonna out myself just a little on that. Not gonna give you any more information about me. Anybody out there, you can find me. I'm a very easy person to search up because I don't care. Look me up, fight me. Um, Come at me, bro. I'm white. You ain't gonna come at me. I'm a disabled veteran and I'm white and I'm straight passing and I'm happily married in a very, what would be considered more often than not traditional looking marriage. Come the fuck at me, people. Like you talk about it all the time on your show, just to get into politics a little for a second, because I want to wind you up a little bit. I want you, I unleashed with Dean. And I know Dean's been warning people about me in some of his shows that I get a little feisty because there's some shit going on, and I really hate the people who are doing it. Um,
Which
and
Dean? Dean Blundell or Dean Obeidullah?
Dean Blundell,
Okay.
um, he and I got into a show about talking about Pete Hegseth, and I referred to him as Pete the Taint Hegseth. And right before that episode, I had put out a note that it was when. Vance, Miller, and Hegseth were all running away from the reporters and the questions in New York City. And I was like, oh, it's a penis, balls, and a taint just missing their orange asshole. Um, and they were just running away. And we just had a blast. And I fucking hate these people because they're destroying everything I love and everything I care about. And
Well, it's
everything I
fine by
learned
me.
about.
I call him Pete Kekseth. So I don't think I've used the word Hegseth in a long time. I call him Pete Kekseth. That was given to me by Allison from Mother She Wrote. And you're a veteran. See, this is really interesting. If you don't mind me asking,
Yeah, go
because
for it.
you're a veteran. And one of the four horsemen of the apocalypse is Pete Kekseth, and I warned about Pete Kekseth. I wrote about it. I tried my best to just tell everyone how dangerous he is. I did the research on him. I'm not the only one, right? This is a man, folks. For
Yeah.
those who don't know, if I may go on my mini rant, if you want to wind me up, Pete Kekseth
Heck yeah.
is an O4 rank. Lieutenant Austin, the black man who was the last Secretary of Defense, was an O10 rank, a 3-star general. The person before him in the Trump administration was Mad Dog Mattis, right? He hates that name, but General Mattis, another O10 rank, like highest ranked general. Regardless of what you think about their politics, nonetheless, these are creme de la creme,
Yeah.
impeccable standards, highest ranks. Pete Hegseth was in the army for 2 years. His own colleagues, folks, based upon his conduct, his rhetoric, and also his tattoos, reported him to their superiors as a potential insider threat. That is the person who's their Secretary of Defense. Now, these tattoos that he has, not
Yeah.
everyone who has those tattoos is an extremist, but unfortunately, in the past few years, the Iron Cross and Deus Vult and the Kafir tattoo that he has, Kafir, by the way, is Arabic, which means one who rejects faith. He has that right underneath Deus Vult, which means God wills it. So we could, I'll let you,
We could argue about the
yeah,
irony there.
yeah, but they said this guy is unhinged. He wrote a book called American Crusade. You could go read it. It's his book.
Yeah.
In his book, which I tried to tell people, he literally tells you that he is too extreme for the U.S. military. He was proud about it. He was aligned with all these extremists and freaks. This is a guy, in addition to all this, being unqualified, multiple allegations of being an alcoholic. His Fox colleagues in the New York Times, they didn't give their names. They said they worried about his alcohol problem. He was removed from two. This is all top of my head. He was removed from two nonprofits for economic impropriety. He in Princeton, he wrote an article saying that if you have sex with a woman who's passed out, it doesn't count as rape. And then later on, lo and behold, he makes this woman who he sexually assaulted sign an NDA, pays her, I think, $50,000. We could read the police report. He assaulted her while she was drunk. She has tried to release herself from the NDA to tell her story. He hasn't said that. His own mother sent an email calling him a predator, siding with his ex-wife, calling him a bad man. And then as all this is happening, as he's completely unqualified, this mother effer is now purging DEI from the military, removing women and people of color who are thoroughly qualified. And then a big scandal. And Nick, nobody has asked him this. Why, oh, why did, I think it was 3 weeks ago, did you tweet out in favor of the Christchurch pastor? And when they did a 6-minute segment on CNN in which these extremist Christian nationalists bragged about repealing the 19th Amendment, having women go back to the kitchen, not vote, supporting violence. They don't believe in separation of church and state. And you're a congregant. And then you took this clip of the CNN video and you tweeted affirmatively. Nobody to this day, Nick, has asked him, do you agree with this pastor? Do you agree that women should have the right to vote? You're a congregant of one of their churches. Do you believe in the use of violence to further your goals? Are you a Christian nationalist? I would think, Nick, this would be a big deal. So the question I have for you, seeing this piece of shit as the Secretary of Defense, and I remember military.com, which has done good reporting, had said, I think it was last month that, and you have colleagues, you're buddies with vets. They said morale was really low. Nobody respected this guy. Nobody wanted to work for this guy. And I think a report just came out today. I was talking to Olivia. I think it's Washington Post and New York Times. They're saying these poor National Guard members who are here in DC 20 minutes away from me, they feel shame and morale is low. When you see this piece of shit get elevated to that level as a veteran, how does that make you feel?
Well, he fucking sucks. Like, just to put it bluntly, Pete Methane Hegseth or Keg's Breath or whatever piece of shit you want to call him is a piece of fucking shit. I actually do a show about nationalist Christofascism or Nazis for short, because, that's what they fucking are. And it fits with nationalist Catholics who that's what JD Vance is. So we have to remember both. There's both sides of this argument
Yeah,
coming in on
yeah,
these idiots. I'll answer it don't worry, John King. I'm not going to hold back on this. I do a show on Pete Hegseth, and I actually read one of his church's sermons last night with my friend Lisa Joy. And she's a deconstructing nationalist. We're from that church, but on the oppressed side. These fucking people don't give a shit about you or me. They don't care about our service. They don't like our service members. The only thing they care about and want out of our service is a white nationalist crusader army that is going to hunt down and capture brown people, student Mexicans, because I heard you guys talking about that on the last show, and
yeah.
Lev has talked about that a little bit, and that's a great fear. Is Mexico or Canada our next? Possibly. In a hypothetical world, like, Venezuela is just a soft target, but we're also prepping in the same ways with Alberta and shit going on, and we're weakening our defenses. I named this show the weakest, whitest house for a reason because it's the weakest fucking White House that we've ever had, and it's the whitest White House we've had in a really long time. And every time we have a really white White House, it's really weak. Except for World War II, when we had a pretty white White House because that was just the standard back then, and you couldn't really do much about it otherwise. After that, once we started getting equality, the whiter the White House, the shittier the outcome. And we have the whitest White House, and nobody's talking about, not even not asking Pete Hegseth about the fact that he is part of a Christian nationalist or a nationalist Christian Nazi church that is spewing hate, that wants to repeal the ability for women to vote and do anything outside of the house. They want you to go back to being slaves, bare feet, vessels. They have called women vessels. I have read their sermons. They're fucking garbage. They're horrendous pieces of shit that are anti-Christian, and I'm not Christian. I'm a Jewish American who is agnostic, like at best. Like I'm culturally Jewish and agnostic, but I was born and raised also French Catholic, and I understand what these people somewhat think. And these fucking people suck, and they don't believe in Christ. They don't believe in the teachings of Judeo-Christian or Islamic values at all. They just want to hurt people. They are the same as the Taliban, as the regime in Israel. They're the same as the regime in Russia. They're the same as the regime in all of these other authoritarian countries. In China, when they exterminated the Uyghurs, that's next. You don't think that's fucking coming? That's what ICE is doing. That's what DHS is doing. That's what Palantir is doing. I talk about Palantir and the techno fascists all the fucking
Good,
time. And
good.
nobody ever talks about them and how much in bed they're with the Christo-fascists too, or the fact that Mike Johnson flies a white nationalist Christo-fascist flag outside of his office, and he's the preacher of the house. He ain't a speaker of the house. He's a preacher of the house. He doesn't speak. He preaches, and he doesn't do shit. And he covers up for pedophiles, and he covers up for disgusting human beings who are trafficking children, and it's gross as shit. And Pete Hegseth is compromised. He's
You
compromised
know,
because he's an alcoholic and because he's an abuser. And anyone who can do those things as a trained interrogator knows you are compromised when you are an alcoholic and an abuser because you can let your emotions get the hold of you really, really fast. And people can use that really, really quickly. And there's blackmail on Pete Hegseth, and we all fucking know it. And that church that opened up in DC is part of the white nationalist agenda and Project 2025.
and to prove that for those who don't know what we're talking about, go back and look on August 7th on Twitter. There's a full CNN segment, it's about 6 minutes long, on Doug Wilson's quote, "Crusade for Christian domination in the age of Trump." They don't hide any of this. Pamela Brown goes and talks to them, and those people openly say, "Yeah, women are second class. We don't believe women are equal to men. We believe in a Christian nation. We don't believe in separation of church and state." Like, they don't hide any of this. All right.
Yep.
They want to repeal the 19th Amendment. Okay. So there's a clip of this entire 6 minute video. Pete Hegseth, from his official account, folks, on October 7th, retweets it with this phrase: "All of Christ for all of life." He's a congregant of that church. He is telling you openly this is what he believes in. He has the tattoos on his body. He wrote the book American Crusade. He literally did this tweet. And nobody, our failure of the corporate media, no, I've been telling everyone, Nick, I said, just ask him, do you agree with Doug Wilson that there shouldn't be the 19th Amendment? Do you agree in the use of violence to, subordinate non-Christians? Do you believe in the separation of church and state? You're the Secretary of Defense. Do you believe in the United States Constitution? Do you believe in Christian national? I mean, these are basic ass questions because the man himself, I'm looking at it right now. I'm looking at the tweet. All of Christ for all of life, positively retweeting this segment about the crusade for Christian domination. I think you said something. I'm glad you're talking about this and we're talking about this because I remember I've been actually speaking out publicly about this. I got invited. I think Jamie Raskin's team, I think it was a couple years ago, asked me to talk about white Christian nationalism and why it's a threat. And we went to the Capitol, across from the Capitol. White Christian nationalism, for those who don't know, folks, is a political ideology that uses Jesus as a mascot, specifically as warrior Jesus. And they believe that
White
God,
warrior, Jesus.
White Warrior Jesus, and William Boykin, who was part of the Bush administration's failed war on terror, later came out and then, has become this white Christian nationalist. He said that Jesus will be resurrected with an AR-15. And they believe God has given America as a special place to white Christian men to purify the land, purge the land of sins, and then through America, we will see the second coming of Christ, the establishment of the kingdom of heaven on earth. And through any violent means necessary, you have to dominate and suppress everyone else. And so God allows you to use violence to purge people like me and Nick and women and gays and immigrants. And so white Christian nationalism, real quick. Russell Vaught is a white Christian nationalist. He's a co-author of Project 2025. Many people say he's a shadow president. Pete Hegseth is a white Christian nationalist. Mike Johnson is a white Christian nationalist. Josh Hawley last year, remember that press conference? Well,
Yep.
some people will say that this makes me a Christian nationalist, and so I am. And then you also had Lauren Boebert talk about they don't believe in the separation of church and state. You had Charlie Kirk say he doesn't believe in the separation of church and state. And then finally, I'll say before I hand it to you, because you got me going and I got you going,
Good.
Samuel Alito's wife
Yep.
flew not one, but two flags associated with the January 6th insurrection at two different properties. And one of them, the Appeal to Heaven flag, is now specifically associated with white Christian nationalists, meaning you have to be in the know to
Yep.
fly that flag. And that's the flag that she flew. Thank you
Yeah.
for my rant, Nick.
Good, good. Because I want to correct not just Alito's wife, but Samuel Alito himself. Because if they're part of this church, they believe women are subordinate to their husbands and men at all times. Like, period, point blank. She did not fly that flag without his explicit permission. She does not do anything without his permission in their religion. Women don't have rights. It's one household, one vote. That's what they want. They want to get rid of women's right to vote and bring it to one household, one vote, and then eventually to one household with property owning one vote. And then they're going to restrict that back and back and back because they're originalists, but they didn't say what originalists they are. They're like Magna Carta originalists or like the Articles of Confederacy originalists, but they're not constitutionalists. That's some
And
fucking
also no fault divorce. That's another big
no
one that's
fault
happening.
divorce, and they're bringing it back in the South very quickly. They've already done shit like that. The woman in Georgia who was literally a vessel for a fetus after she was incapacitated and became a she was in a coma, and they kept her alive to birth a child that came out early and is needing medical care because they don't care about women. They're not pro-life. They're anti-life. They're a death cult. I'm pro-life. I'm pro-women. I'm pro-abortion. I'm pro-sanctity of life and dignity because women are people too, and they deserve the same fucking rights that I do, just like everybody else does, because you're fucking people just like I am. People deserve rights. Like, period, blank, full stop. We'll go from there. Like, on the do you deserve to be able to say the shit that you're saying? Because if you're a Christian nationalist who's actively hurting people, the First Amendment, your right to free speech, stops at the bridge of my nose or the bridge of your nose. When you incite violence, your right to free speech is over. Because you have incited violence. That is a constitutional guarantee that you have is you get to fucking say what you want, but not incite violence. When it becomes violent, it is no longer protected speech. That's what I learned. That's what my father taught me. I was a sergeant in the army. I got out and I actually did shit while I was in the army. And I can't talk about most of the shit that I did in the army, but I can tell you what I did learn from my dad, who was a full bird colonel, who is a higher rank than fucking Pete Hegseth and has more right to be the Secretary of Defense than that piece of garbage does, because my dad actually led troops and led soldiers and commanded and disciplined and didn't play fucking baby ass. I'm big man alpha buck. Fuck my. I have tiny balls because I took steroids too much. And you're so fucking weak. And I call them testicles. I've stopped calling one because it's offensive to a pussy to call these people pussies because pussies birth babies. Women push out babies. Testicles, you touch them and you fall over. You squeeze them too hard and you fall over. These
Did you see
men
him
are,
trying to do a pull up? Did you see him trying to do a pull up a couple of days
eh,
ago?
he was like
He
tipping it,
didn't get the
whatever
chin.
that.
He didn't get the chin up.
Yeah, what a fucking, what a noob. Like, this dude would have washed out of Marine Corps basic. He would have washed out of basic because you actually have to do pull-ups in the Marine Corps. You have to do, I think, 20 of them, consecutive pull-ups, like down all the way up, like real fucking pull-ups. Keg Breath couldn't even do like these like quarter things. If he could, if anything, dude, like do chin-ups. Like, be a fucking testicle and do some chin-ups. The least you could do is get some arm workout. They're testicles because they're soft, they're weak, and when you squeeze them, they give up and they fall over. And we just need to squeeze these people because that's what it's going to take. No, Kenny, he's not a pussy. Women birth children. They are strong as fuck. Imagine trying to push that out your penis, dude. Like, I don't think you could.
Listen,
The excruciating pain that you would think about. Like, dude, don't even compare. They're
can I
testicles.
say
They're
two
just
things
weak.
about that? Can I say two
Yeah.
things about that? That video of Kekseth trying and failing to do a pull up. There is a woman. It's awesome. It went
Oh,
viral.
she's
There's
so amazing.
there's a woman with a baby strapped to her chest, and they do a side. She does a side by side. So on the, like the right side, there's Kekset trying his hardest to be an alpha man and failing to do the pull up, and then she, man, with a baby strapped to her chest, she's just rocking it. And then the second thing, I think that's a really important point, right? We oftentimes men, the way we talk, right? Oh, don't be a pussy, don't be a bitch, or don't be a vagine. I have seen my wife give birth 3 times. Let me
Hmm.
tell you, folks. Let me tell you. First time, there's a saying in Islam, and oftentimes when we're growing up, we're like, hey, man, the saying goes like this: Heaven lies beneath the feet of the mother 3 times. Uh, First, second, third times, heaven lies beneath the feet of the mother. Heaven lies beneath the feet of the mother. Heaven lies beneath the feet of the mother, and then the father. So when we were growing up, we're like, hey, man, how come like dad and bros are fourth? All right. Then I saw my wife give birth the first time,
Hmm.
and I was like, heaven lies beneath the feet of the mother. Respect. Because
Yep.
if you've ever seen, if you're ever lucky enough, your loved one, your partner, you see them give birth, right? And you see what women go through just to give birth. I'm telling you, man, if men were to give birth, there would be on-demand abortions at
Yep.
McDonald's. Like
Yep.
we would not last,
Drive-throughs.
bro. Like women have, what they've, and you know this in the army, right? Veteran, men have the strength, the physical strength. Women have
Mhm.
the stamina.
Well, the funny thing is, women have the physical strength thing isn't even so true. I've realized from the army, from my time in the army, is men may have like more outward physical strength up front, but if you ever watch men and women compete to do sit-ups and crunches, because one of the physical fitness test pieces is doing sit-ups as many as you can in 2 minutes in the army, and I think you have to get a minimum of like 60 or something. Women can do so many fucking sit-ups so fast. Like, my wife used to be able to, because my wife was in the army too. She used to be able to do like nearly 100 or more sit-ups in 2 minutes. I could eke out 60 and be like, oh, like that's the standard to get me to where I need to feel comfortable that I'm happy getting a good PT score on. She's just sitting there just like, yep, bang, bang, bang. Dude,
It's just
women are
like that
so
video, right? She's
strong.
with the baby.
Yeah,
She's with the baby, just crushing it. And I think why it's so important and germane to this conversation is it's all projection. These
yeah,
are, I think you talked about it, Nick. These are weak men. These are weak men. White supremacy is ultimately a self-destructive and destructive romantic ideology that creates myths for mediocre men to make them seem like they're the Vikings who will go to Valhalla. But what they're
yep,
basically doing is hiding their insecurities and fears. It's all projection all the time. And the people who run circles around them, women, people of color, immigrants, they're a threat. So they have to unlevel the playing field, right? So they have to remove DEI, they have to remove affirmative action, they have to just completely, if you will, subvert the entire system, promote myths to make themselves feel comfortable. And look at the people who are put in charge, right? They're replacing all these competent women, Lisa Cook, Federal Reserve, Dr. Moneras, the person they voted for in the CDC. They're getting rid of black and women leaders in the military. Just look at them, folks. Look at Pete Hegseth. We did an analysis of his resume, compared him to Lloyd Austin. Lloyd Austin, the Secretary of Defense, a black man who had to be near perfect to be Secretary of Defense, and this white mediocrity, this affirmative action for white mediocrity. Look at Donald Trump, man. Donald Trump should not, folks, we just normalize Donald
Elitist.
Trump. He should not, folks, he is not qualified to be president. Tell me how he's qualified to be the mother effing president of the United States. This is a man. I mean, it goes back to Donald Trump because they're all reflections of Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Mediocrity. Donald Trump has failed up in life thanks to whiteness, wealth, and celebrity. His rich daddy leaves him $400 million. Donald Trump is so mediocre, so self-destructive, folks, he squanders the $400 million. He declares bankruptcy 6 times. He has to create a bullshit narrative, The Art of the Deal, a book he doesn't even write, to create the myth of him as a master deal maker. He bankrupts 2 casinos, right? He gets bailed out through Russian money, Deutsche Bank, and he gets
Multiple
bailed out
times.
due to celebrity, right? The only reason he's president is because of The Apprentice, right? So you have The Apprentice, and folks who were producers on The Apprentice said that Trump Towers was a piece of shit. They said it was disgusting, it was tacky, it was cheap. They had to spend money renovating the lobby of a Trump Towers to make it look actually nice, and that's where they filmed The Apprentice. All of it is a myth. It's all smoke and mirrors. Nick, look who they adulate. John Wayne, an actor.
Yeah.
Gary Cooper, an actor. Ronald Reagan, an actor. Donald Trump, an actor. It's a myth
Yeah.
because they
It's
know
all a
they're weak.
myth. Yeah, it's all fake. It's all a myth. It's all the white Jesus. It's all white savior Jesus with his luscious brown locks, looking like Obi-Wan, doing his thing, but not being Ewan McGregor. Like, because no one can beat him. But like,
Well,
it's
hello
that
there.
white Jesus. General Kenobi. Uh,
Sorry, we promise we'll stay on track. We'll stay on track.
we'll try. We'll try. And I still want to build a lightsaber. Like I was at Disney and like I went to the Millennium Falcon place and they had Mos Eisley and they had the lightsaber building area and I didn't have the money to build either a lightsaber and R2D2 and I really regret it. Anyway, going back to
And
these people.
for what it's worth, we saw it and we saw grown men as the ones who bought it. And then my son wanted it, and then I saw how much it cost. I'm like, son, you don't need these things. There are kids who are starving around the world.
Yeah.
I tried to make a lesson out of it, but it was because it was way too expensive.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. We don't even use the kids are starving around the world anymore. We're like, there's kids starving down the road.
Yeah, oh,
Eat your food.
that's true. There's kids now starving in America with measles. With
With
measles.
measles, yeah, totally preventable. Like I'm alive because vaccines work. Like fuck RFK. He's a piece of shit. He's also one of the horsemen of the apocalypse. He's pestilence.
Well, speaking about
He's a
mediocrity, speaking about a
yeah,
person who should never have their job, Nick, perfect
yeah.
example.
Yeah. But I want to go back to 2 things. Well, at least one thing you said. And well, one person we've left out of this conversation thus far is Stephen Miller. And Stephen Miller is one of the most vile pieces of shit
Yeah,
in the world. Like
absolutely.
he and so I've been talking a lot between the last couple days of I've actively been deconstructing my association of how I feel about Israel as a Jewish American
Mm,
starting yesterday, really with Qasim Rashid, we had myself and Lawrence Winterman had a discussion with him where he had put out a note saying that it's a Holocaust going on in Palestine. And that hits really, really hard. Like you don't hear the words Holocaust very, very often other than the words the Holocaust. Well, I realized as I'm deconstructing all of this, Israel doesn't define my Judaism anymore. Israel doesn't define who I am as a Jewish person. However, we do need to associate Israel the exact same way that we do with Donald Trump and Pete Hegseth and JD Vance and and Russell Vought and Stephen Miller and the white nationalism part of it. And the Christo-fascism is just a label that they get to have Stephen Miller is a Zionist fascist. He is a Jewish fascist. He is a Jewish Nazi. He is a fascist in every single fucking way, shape, or form there is. He wants to bomb Mexico. He wants to round up people who are not white enough in his world of white, but he's not white enough either because he's still Jewish, and we're never white enough for them.
There you go. There you go.
We're never enough for the Christo fascists. You saw that with Hitler, even though they went towards atheism, the Catholic Church sat behind that and stole all our shit. Catholic Church, if you want to give us back all the shit you stole during World War II and all of the Library of Alexandria, we're all fucking waiting. Please give that shit back. We'd like to know what's in there. Not because we care about what you're hiding, but because we want the knowledge that you've stolen. Pieces of shit. Like, get off your asses and do something useful. Don't just condemn it. Stop it. The Catholic Church could literally stop what is going on if they coordinated enough to do it. Like, the Catholic Church has enough power. We literally have an American fucking Pope right now, and they're calling him the Antichrist. The Antichrist is the orange piece of shit that's sitting in the Oval Office, dumping on everything we care about and all of our things and treading on that. You know, that SNEC flag that they have? I made this analogy yesterday with my friend, and other people commented on it. Was like, I've never heard it that way. We want to go back to weakness. We want to go back to the original weakness. Adam is the weakest motherfucker there is. He is a beta piece of shit. He let a snake steal his woman when there was no one else around. The snake was in front of him, too. The dude didn't stop a snake. Original tread on me snake. The guy tread on Adam and said, "Hey, babe, I'm going to give you this fucking apple and you're going to eat it and we're going to reveal the world." You know what that apple really was? It was an orgasm. He couldn't give her an orgasm, and she found a way, and that snake found a way. And guess what? The world exploded after that, and women erupted out from all of this. And Adam, you're a weak piece of shit because you let a goddamn snake beat you. You
Is,
didn't even
is
have any
it,
other dudes by yourself.
I
Like,
feel like this.
you
I feel like this
populated
is
the world.
I feel like this is a Kevin Smith rant, and this is where we need God to come in. Dimitri said, "Yes, have God come in." But you
Hey,
mentioned
I'll invite God if you want to come on. You're welcome to. Like,
you mentioned Stephen Miller. I'm so glad that you did because right now, folks, what people aren't realizing is that one of the shadow presidents, because Donald Trump is weak. He's a 79-year-old man. He has spent most 20% of his time, Nick, golfing. We don't see him do rallies. He has the cankles. I'm not disrespecting any person who's old who has cankles, but I'm using this to
but
disrespect
he's
Donald Trump.
dying.
Yeah, he's dying. He's not healthy at all. And this is a man who seems mostly checked out. So as he's checked out, who's the one doing the heavy lifting? And there's two people. There's Russell Vought, who is the kind of quiet killer, one of the co-authors of Project 2025, again, an avowed open white Christian nationalist. And then there's
Yep.
Stephen Miller. Stephen Miller is not a Christian nationalist, but he is a white supremacist. And folks,
Yes.
Janine Guerrero wrote a great book on him called Hate Monger, and I invited her on a couple of weeks ago where we just traced the evil villain origin story of Stephen Miller. And folks, he's dyed in the wool. This man is a true believer. This man is like all out and out. He wants his white nationalist America. And yes, he's Jewish. Well, how can he be Jewish and also be a white supremacist? Folks, you aren't paying attention to human history. There's also Laura Loomer, who is Jewish, who also then describes herself as a white nationalist, right? This has happened time and
There
time
were
again.
Jewish Nazis. Like,
Yeah, it happens.
let's, yeah.
There's okay. It's every single community has folks who have sold out their own people for the sake of power. But Stephen Miller is radicalized, folks. That's what people don't realize. He is a true believer. He's been on this since he was 14. He says that the Immigration and Nationality Act of 1965 that helped bring my family to this country, which in fact brought a lot of Latinos and Asians to this country because it removed the restrictive quotas that were put in place for 4 decades, was the single worst thing that happened to America. So he is in this till the end. He wants to make America white again. He wants to end birthright citizenship. He wants to get rid of people who are legally here. He wants to just stop immigration. He wants to go back to the 1930s, folks. It doesn't matter if it will destroy America because we live in a globalized world. He does not care. He is literally in line with white supremacist
Yeah,
conspiracies, ideologies.
yeah.
He promoted those through Breitbart in the first Trump administration. And when Nick is saying, he wants to bomb Mexico, I had Olivia Troy on my show just an hour ago, and she used to work with him in the first administration. And she has, she's come on the show several times. He goes, you have like, he is evil. He is terrible. He wants to bomb Mexico, Central America. He believes these brown drug traffickers are corrupting America. And folks, it's connected. The war in Venezuela is connected to the war in America. The bombing, the illegal bombing of the vessel of the 11 individuals who the New York Times just reported tried to turn their boat back, and they still unilaterally killed them in a war crime. It's tied directly to the National Guard because Stephen Miller has used these words, folks: invasion. He has used the word invasion to say that we're under war. He says the immigrants are invading America. He says that we're at war with these immigrants, these undocumented immigrants who are bringing their drugs. He has unleashed. He is the one. He is the one who unleashed the ICE agents in Los Angeles at Home Depot and 7-Eleven. He has used the word insurrection. He is the one that is going to get Donald Trump to invoke the Insurrection Act to unleash the National Guard and the military against the American people, and he's willing to bring it all down for his white nationalist visions. So you have white nationalism with Stephen Miller, you have white Christian nationalism with Russell Vought, and then you have with the bro oligarchy and the tech bros, Elon Musk, Peter Thiel, Curtis Yarvin, and others, techno fascism. What
Yeah.
connects all of them is the desire for power, greed, and white supremacy. And you talked about it earlier, the domination of women, and specifically you mention it, and everyone might think, oh, we're crazy. Oh, women are just vessels. Laura Ingraham, just yesterday, there's a clip going around
Talk about
where
it.
did you see that clip where that woman is like, I'm having babies. Oh, the Millers need to have a lot of babies. That's right. Conservatives are having more babies than liberals. That's right. We need to repopulate the earth. They're giving you the plot, folks. Sorry, Nick, for
Yeah.
my rant.
No, no, don't apologize for the rant. I love it. That's part of what I like. I like doing is because I enjoy getting up on this topic and we can talk about it both excitedly but also intelligently. Because people you have to remember, like, this dude is fucking one, he's fucking gross. Two, he's also beta as shit. I'm talking about Stephen Miller. He
Oh,
let
yeah.
Elon
Sweet.
Musk steal his wife
Yep.
and become his Elon Musk's secretary, who is known for taking other people's wives and women and putting them into a sex cult and having babies with them and just making little Elon bots and little like South African apartheid fascist bots. Stephen Miller let a disgusting piece of shit human being steal his. Oh, like he's so beta, he couldn't even protect his own family. Like he let his family fall apart for Elon fucking Musk. Like imagine how shitty you must be as a spouse to have Elon Musk steal your have your
That's
wife
another
on the
big
coach.
story. I talked to Olivia about that, and she goes, "Oh, there's a story there." I'm really curious because she does work for Elon Musk, and she still works with or for him even after the Elon Musk Trump debacle.
Leaving the
And
White House.
no one presses Miller like, "Yo, why are you letting your lady work for this guy who apparently is against your king and your daddy?" It's interesting. It's a story that I think you can push him and needle him, and it'll piss him off.
Yeah, yeah. And I don't like Stephen Miller, and I'm happy to needle on this all the
Oh, did I
time.
tell you I
Also,
confronted him? I
did
confronted
you?
him? Oh, yeah, yeah. A couple of months ago, folks, in the second Trump administration, I did this video. I forget what month it was. Might have been the third month or second month of Trump administration. It's right here. Well, you like this, Nick, bringing things back full circle. At Tyson's in Virginia, if you know, you know, it was me and my son. I picked him up from, I think it was soccer, and I had a big yellow, that big yellow Lego bag. And I'm like, all right, son, let's go return this Lego set. So it's me and my son, me, middle-aged dad, dressed like a middle-aged dad, just parked my Honda Odyssey minivan, okay? And with the big yellow Lego bag, I'm crossing the street. And as I'm crossing the street, I see two big black minivans, right? Or SUVs rather. And I'm like, that's Stephen Miller leaving Macy's with his wife and his kids. Now, again, two black SUVs, and he's not driving, which means that our taxpayer dollars are paying for his security and his drivers, right? And this was, folks, right after it was announced. It was a week after it was announced that they had straight up, I'm using the word because it's the appropriate word, kidnapped the innocent 200 plus men, brown men with tattoos, and literally deported them to their death to Secot, which included Kilmar Abrego Garcia. So as these men were straight up suffering in Secot, this guy was having a great old time shopping at Macy's. So I cross the street. I'm on the sidewalk. It's my right to walk on the sidewalk, and I have to cross the street and walk towards the entrance of the mall. And I see this mother effer. His wife is in the car. His kids are in the car, so his kids were there, but he's there, and he's about to sit in the car, and he's here, and I'm here. I didn't get in his face. I didn't yell. I didn't swear, but I looked right at him. I said, Steven. Steven. And he paused. He was about to sit in the car and he paused. And this such a coward. He didn't look up at me. So suppose you're me and I'm him. He's like this. He hears me. And I go, Steven, you're hurting American families. Stop it. You're hurting American families. And then his bodyguard comes up, a woman, just to humiliate him a bit more. And she says, you have to keep moving. Keep moving, sir. And I'm like, I thought about it for a second, and I'm not really a confrontational person. I'm like, I don't have to keep moving. This is America. This is a
Yeah, I can
sidewalk.
do what I want.
I'm away from him. I'm not yelling. I'm not spitting. And I looked at her and I said, yeah, okay. And then he sat down in his car without looking at me. Then my parents are like, what the F is wrong with you? This man is a Nazi. I can't believe you did it. You had your son with him. You shouldn't have done that. And my wife's like, watch, was that the smartest thing to do? And I'm like, I just couldn't
Yeah.
help myself. It's like the scene from Django Unchained. I couldn't,
Mhm.
it's like when Christoph Waltz's character says, I couldn't resist.
What a good movie. Like, as weird as Leo is, like, what a good movie though. Like, he got into that part so hard. Um,
He should have been nominated for that role. He was very good in it.
yeah, yeah, he
Oh,
was.
and did you
But like going back to
go ahead?
Steven, like he himself too, like going back to my reference a little bit earlier of a penis, a testicle, and a taint, was Stephen Miller is a circumcised penis walking around as a human being. That's what he looks like. If you imagine what a
Why
head of
disrespect
a
circumcised penises? Why? Why do that, Nick?
because it's a mutilation of bodies and it's bad for boys to get circumcised, and it's a fallacy of our faith system to or my faith system traditionally to want to get it. Like there's other ways to do that without having to clip off part of your penis. Like if God made you that way, leave it alone, I guess, right?
But
If
why?
that's the
Why? Why?
belief.
Why? For those
Why
of us
ain't
who are
none circumcised? I mean, I'm circumcised. I'll say it out loud. I'm a Jewish guy. Like that's it's the expectation. But if you imagine, I'm not dissing on circumcised penises, but penises are ugly. Like normally, like if you've ever seen one in a video accidentally, let's imagine you're not in a red state where they don't allow you to not be able to see things like that, and you accidentally go on the web and you see a phallic looking shape that is doing something. They're kind of ugly. Um, and so
can
that's what I imagine Stephen Miller.
can
Maybe
I
he's
can
like a
maybe you can
circumcised
find
or uncircumcised, and he's like popping out of his hood.
he's Jewish, he's circumcised, but I would like to I call him human smegma. I think that's better. He is human smegma. He's the thick, foul, odorous, cheesy accumulation that results from the infection. Something I learned about in eighth grade, and me and my friends, we've never been able to remove smegma from our brain. They're human smegma. He's a terrible person, and this is I want your take on this. This is just breaking news. Washington Post reported this, and now New York Times just reported this. FBI
Oh wow.
leaders allege in lawsuit that they were unlawfully fired over political loyalty. The former acting director says a Trump administration official asked a series of questions, including who did you vote for? Before he was briefly named FBI's acting director earlier this year, Brian Driscoll says he got a call from a Trump administration official who peppered him with a series of pointed questions. Among them were, who did you vote for? When did you start supporting President Trump? Have you voted for a Democrat in the last 5 elections? Do you agree that the FBI agents who stormed Mar-a-Lago should be held accountable?
So every single elected official, because they are a public servant and their job is to serve the public, swears an oath to the Constitution. Every single public servant in general, to include the military, every single veteran has sworn an oath to the Constitution. Every legislator has sworn an oath to the Constitution. Every member of the federal government who is in a job has sworn the oath to the Constitution and not to a man. As Mark Milley once said, was we do not swear an oath to a dictator, to a king, to a wannabe dictator. We swear an oath to the Constitution. I'll even read part of the oath of enlistment for the Army. It is,
Can
I
you?
do so.
Please.
Yeah, I'll read the whole damn thing too. I do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, and that I will obey the orders of the President of the United States and the orders of the officers appointed over me, according to regulations and the Uniform Code of Military Justice. That means you follow the rule until it's unlawful, and the act of defining an unlawful order does not come from a lawyer. The act of, and my wife and I were having this discussion, and she encouraged me to talk about this a little bit. And I'm going to talk about some of what we spoke about last night. Is the military is mission driven since World War II. That means soldiers get to say no. That means the command structure, every single person from the top down to the bottom knows the exact order and the chain of orders and the chain of command and who comes in next and who fucking does what. And if they die, who's the next person to take over that radio? And you know what? The person who is the one that's defining and deciding that order gets to say no. They get to say no, because if they don't say no and it is an unlawful order ruled afterwards, you go to fucking prison. And you don't go
Yep.
to you don't go to normal prison where they treat you kind of cushy like Ghislaine Maxwell and Epstein all of a sudden dying. Like those are cushy deaths or cushy moves. You go to fucking Leavenworth where you
That's
sit and rot.
Captain Blaha, who is running for Illinois' 13th congressional district as a progressive. He's a 12-year. He's in the National Guard for 12 years. He's a captain, and I interviewed him, and he said the same thing. He sent out a video, Nick, telling people to disobey illegal orders, and then
Disobey them.
the warning he gave them was a lot of people were just following orders during Nazi Germany, and then there were the Nuremberg trials, and they were tried and convicted for war crimes.
Yes. Yeah. Like that's as a veteran, and it's something that we talk about on my other network, which is Banner and Backbone, which is a civic based network founded by myself, Lawrence Winterman, and then fellow veteran and Marine vet, Frederick Pogue. Um, we work with Ellie Leonard. We work with Melissa Corrigan. Melissa Corrigan is a Navy vet. She and I have been talking about what can we do? Like, what is the message we can say? And we're going to be doing something on Banner and Backbone side from veterans and encouraging other veterans to join in with us. We've spoken to Bobby Jones. We've spoken to Chris Goldsmith before. I've spoken to Fred Wellman before. We've had big veteran names. Ken Harbaugh was on our show last week. Evan Fields is coming on the show next week. We
Right?
have a lot of veterans who can speak out and are speaking out, and I'm going to be contacting them to talk about what it means to disobey a unlawful order versus lawful order and how you do it, what your reporting mechanisms and security mechanisms are, and what it means to be a conscientious objector, because we're getting on the precipice of war
Yep.
and you need to know your rights as a soldier and if you get drafted. So men, buckle the fuck up, because the most DEI force in American history is the military. Not by need, but by necessity. The most DEI force in the American history is the military by necessity. Women, Black people, brown people, Native Americans, white people, Asians, every single walk of life, every single person who has come into
Transgender
this country.
soldiers.
Yes, people who aren't even Americans. LGBTQ soldiers, trans soldiers, all of those people, women who volunteered to become the nurses and the nurses corps, who were by necessity added into the service to help protect our soldiers during the Revolutionary War and then during the Civil War and during all of the other wars that we have had. And they're throwing our best out. My friend Walter Ryan says it is, you cannot have the best if you exclude half the population. You can't. These white men are excluding more than half the population. Sorry,
It's a
more than
permanent
half the
action for the
population.
globe. most mediocre white men. That is the Trump
Yes.
administration. That is white Christian nationalism. That is white
Yeah.
supremacy.
It's all of it.
It's if given a choice between sharing a house with me or burning down the house, folks, they have chosen to burn down the village. The evidence is in front of you. It's in front of your eyes and ears. You're seeing the collapse of America. You're seeing the collapse of our economy. You're seeing the collapse of our public healthcare infrastructure. You're seeing the collapse of the integrity of our armed services, our national security. You're seeing our allies turn away from us. And all of this could have been avoided, but this country just refuses to confront and destroy its two sins, which I believe are white supremacy and greed, unfettered capitalism. And the
Yeah.
manifestation of those two sins has always been Donald Trump. But you know, this thing in particular, and Nick, I got to go. I just realized it's 2
Yeah.
o'clock. Uh, but I think you doing this with veterans, I think it's if you can build this growing coalition of veterans across the board, people who say, I have fidelity to the United States of America, to my country, to the Constitution, to the rule of law. I might be centrist, I might be progressive, religious, atheist, whatever. But we took this oath, and damn you if we're ever going to bend the knee to a tyrant. I think this will be, and you know, people need courage. So you just need a few people, because I'm sure like soldiers, like, I'm just following orders. But man, this report came out earlier today that Olivia and I talked about, and folks, the nearly 1,000 people watching us, these National Guard members who are right here 20 minutes away from me, the 2,000 National Guard members, now people, they're saying they're feeling shame. So if we can get enough of those people to say, no, I will not, F you, I won't do what you tell me, I think it'll be part and parcel of this growing mainstream resistance that is necessary for what I believe, and I think you believe, is the authoritarian endgame of not just Donald Trump, but all of MAGA.
And I'll leave it on this because I know you got to go. Is if you're in an area where guardsmen are being deployed and they're not threatening you and they're not shooting at you, thank them. Do the unexpected thing and thank them. Bring them water, bring them a sandwich. Do something unexpected to them because that humanizes you and people again because they're not all from your state. And you have to remind them that you're not an evil tyrant lib who's out to destroy America. You're just a person who wants to get by. And Waj, this has been so much freaking fun.
No, no,
Thank
but I
you.
think that last point, real quick. I think that last point is so important because if you see the videos of some of these folks, it's very deliberate. The right wing has deliberately tried to dehumanize the rest of us. That's what QAnon is, right? And JD Vance wrote the forward to the book called Unhuman, saying that the rest of us are villains, predators, rapists. And if you see some of these ICE agents, they're like, well, Trump is bad, but the liberals are worse. So they have dehumanized us collectively as this rogue force. So what Rick was saying, I know it's painful, it's not for everyone, but if you can like humanize yourself with these people, it will make them like reconfigure, like, oh shit, these are fellow Americans. These are just
Hmm.
people. They're not liberal, sex offending, godless, like child trafficking demons. Oh, no, they're like my neighbors. And I
Yep.
think you slowly but surely win them over, and you turn the wheels of conscience.
Yep. And it's that sudden switch. It's a sandwich being thrown at a police officer and nobody getting indicted. It's people saying no. So, Watch, this has been so much fun. I'm going to let you go because I know you got another show to get to and other things to do. I hope to have you back and can't wait to talk to you more because this has been a lot of fun and I want to continue it. Um, and any last things to say before you go?
For those who missed, I recommend tuning into the first 5 minutes where we show off our Lego sets, and then somehow we take that into national insecurity, and we're allowed to rant about Pete Hegseth, and we talked about we did a lot: white Christian nationalism, Stephen Miller. So the nearly 1,000 people are watching us. This will be up on our Substack, Nick's Substack, and my Substack. Please become a subscriber. I saw Nick. I thought I was the cheapest Substack around, but Nick's even cheaper than mine. I've kept everything free without paywalls, but if you want to become a paid subscriber, I got kids. But first, go give money to Nick. He's a veteran. And then if you have a few dollars left, or give it to me. And if you don't have money, that's fine. Just become a subscriber. There are no paywalls on the left hook. All this content is for free because I think you agree with me, Nick, that we
Yep.
need an informed citizenry to take on fascism.
Yep.
So, folks, support Nick, support us. Thanks for everything that you do, and thanks for rallying the veterans together to combat these white, weak, mediocre men cosplaying as Vikings, but we know they're just turds.
Just white turds floating in the toilet, waiting to be flushed. Thanks, Wash. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you
Bye.
again. Thanks, everyone.